Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namo Namaha, Om Shri Hari Krishna Maharajaya Namaha, Om Shri Ghansham Maharajaya Namaha, Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to SwaminarayanSpirituality.com and all the related podcasts and YouTube channels. I want to offer my prostrations to Bhagavan Swaminarayan, to all the incarnations of God, and to all the great sages in the world today who have come in the past, yet to come in the future. Today we are going to examine further the power of dhyan that Shriji Maharaj is talking about in Garuda Pratham 1 with regards to the way Maya itself is recognized. As a quick reminder, his exposition on Maya has very much to do with the realization and the recognition of Maya within oneself, of the force and power and existence of Maya within one's psychological, emotive, cognitive framework. Now, the success in dhyan is possible with the mastery or with the development of ekantika dharma. So I want to explain these two words carefully because this is very common in Swaminarayan Satsang. Most devotees, sadhu satsangis, of course, are aware of what this is. But people who are not in the sampradaya or not familiar with the Swaminarayan sampradaya or its teachings or scriptures may not be familiar with this, what it refers to. And by the way, just yesterday, on the day of Diwali, by the grace of God and all the sages, a massive publication was completed on Ekantika Dharma. So that was completed just on the day of Diwali. Which is really just a great blessing. So that is on Swaminarayan Spirituality. If anybody wants information about that, just get in touch with me. So, what is Ekantik Dharma? Ekantik Dharma is made out of 4 qualities. So 4 qualities that come together is called Ekantik Dharma. So Shikshapatri is the scripture written by Shriji Maharaj as an Agnya scripture for his devotees. So verses 103, 103 and 104 define Ekantik Dharma. So dharma should be understood as good conduct, sadachar, established by the Shruti and Smrutis. Affection or sneha and devotion, meaning bhakti towards Bhagavan Krishna, Madhava, should be abundant and accompanied by knowledge of his greatness, Mahatmya. We'll try to understand this here. So the Sanskrit verse is dharma, dharmogneha sadachara, shruti smrutyatyupapaditaha, mahatma gnana yug bhuri sneho bhaktischa madhave. If I'm saying that right, I believe mostly correct. So dharmo means dharmaha gneyaha. So what is dharma? Dharma means righteousness, duty, moral conduct, morality. Without morality, there is no spiritual or religious progress. We are stuck inside this experience of Maya and will not be able to get out of it. There's no real getting out of Maya until there is dharma. And this word is misunderstood quite often. So dharma gneyaha sadachara. So sadachar means that activity which is the right activity, virtuous activity that ought to be done based on ethics, morality, that is in the Shruti and Smriti texts. Smriti means that which is remembered, Shruti is that which is heard, and this was all eventually written down in multiple texts, and they're actually all summarized in the Shikshapatri itself. The 212 verses of the Shikshapatri do summarize the entire Shruti and Smriti scriptures. As I mentioned before, Shikshapatri has an extract of over 300 plus scriptures. Right, so just this verse, 103, really defines beautifully dharma and bhakti, both. And in fact, interestingly enough, Shriji Maharaj's parents' names were that, Dharmadev and Bhakti Devi. And they go together. It's said in the satsang quite often, when you have dharma and bhakti, then the child that is Ghansham is born, meaning that within us, if we want to realize Bhagavan, we have to have the qualities of dharma and bhakti. They combine together, they go together, they communion together, they bridge together, and then that is how the realization of the Paramatma, of Bhagavan that is inside our Atma Tattva, actually comes about. And again, what is the purpose of behind all this? So going back into the question of Govardhan Bhai and the answer Maharaj gave, the purpose here is to recognize that there is a way out of Maya. That Maya exists so that we can get out of it. Its expression is that we can move out of it. So dharma and bhakti, jnana and vairagya, these four, they combine together within us. It's a combination within each individual. It is not simply some hypothetical idea. And also there is the reality of Maya. So Shriji Maharaj defines Maya not as an illusion in the grand cosmic sense, as it is found in much of Advaita Vedanta, but rather as an obstacle in the path of devotion. And that's an interesting distinction. Yes, from one standpoint, we can say it's an illusion. When you realize Nirvikalpa Samadhi, there is no Maya. Maharaj has not discounted that point. But we are living in this world. We're living with names and forms. We're living with so much, actually. It is a matter of trying to unfold truth that is available at all times. Because the murti that he's referring to, is actually inside our Atma. Inside the Atma. We cannot say our Atma. I mean, that's kind of a wrong phrase. We can say our body, my body, but we cannot say our Atma. It's a wrong linguistic expression. The Atma is it's possessing a body, it's experiencing a body. The body is not experiencing the Atma. So this expression, how we say my soul, it's really incorrect to say that. It's a soul that has the experience of me through the identification with body, mind, senses, etc. Anyway, so Shriji Maharaj is defining Maya in a very practical sense, as we've talked about before, that it is an avran. He says, Adu avina avran kare. Avran is the obstacle when a person is trying to connect with God through devotion, right? So it's interesting because this definition personalizes Maya, making it relevant for the bhaktas, the devotees, actual day-to-day lived experience. It shifts focus. I mean, this definition that Shriji Maharaj is giving and then connecting with the ekantik dharma that we have been examining, there's a shift in the focus from an ontological understanding of illusion to a practical challenge faced in the pursuit of spiritual progress. I'll say that again. I'm sure it's confusing to some people. Let's be very clear what we mean. An ontological understanding means like, okay, Maya is an illusion, and you can go to Shankaracharyaji's scriptures, Adhyasa Bhasyam, and there's so many, there's so much literature Shankaracharyaji wrote about the illusion concept, that Maya is an illusion. But Ramanujacharya, which Sriji Maharaj has accepted, he's not really rejected Shankaracharya, but I don't want to go into that right now. That world is real. We cannot just say it's an illusion. I mean, if I start to believe the world is an illusion, then I may not do any spiritual sadhana. I may not do any dhyan at all. I might say it's all an illusion. Even the act of worshipping God is an illusion. Everything is an illusion. Even God is an illusion. I am an illusion. Body is an illusion. Dhyan is an illusion. Everything is an illusion. Mithya, 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 mithya. Meaningless, meaningless. Not there. This kind of thing has happened to people. And where do you wind up? The only place a person winds up is in Vishayavasana, is in desires. Because that's not, then why don't we say desires are an illusion? Hunger is an illusion. Thirst is an illusion. Our instincts are an illusion. Are they? Yeah, maybe if you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, outside the body completely, in the Turiya Avastha, at that point, there's no remembrance of the three bodies or anything. There's no hunger, thirst, the six urmis or anything like that. None of that is there. Shad urmi, they're not there. The Shad urmis are completely not there. They're not there because you're in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That's the reason why. You see, but as long as one is in this body, there's the experience of the body, there's going to be experience of old age and death and hunger and thirst and so many things, but one can live above them through jnana. But the experience of the body still remains. How does it not? So it's not an illusion. That's why Shriji Maharaj gave this definition of Maya. That is an extraordinarily meaningful definition in terms of a practical challenge faced in the pursuit of spiritual progress. We are trying to pursue spiritual progress. We're trying to pursue progress in every aspect of life. That's why in Hindu Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, there's the four Purushartha, the four major goals: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. These four are present as the goals of life. All right, that's fine. Dharma means, righteous activity, etc. Artha means to secure wealth. Kama is to fulfill our desires of all kinds. And then the fourth goal is moksha, mukti. So this answer that Maharaj is giving is for sadhana, is for a sadhak who is connecting with Bhagavan, with Ishta Devata, in this case, Bhagavan Purushottam Narayan, beyond Akshara Brahma, and the illusions that come about within. Is it an illusion? Is the mind an illusion? I mean, mind has reality. It's not an illusion, but it has objects within it, subtle objects. It's all subtle reality. That's why he's saying, J Padarth. Why he's using the word Padarth? The word Padarth in Gujarati means actual physical objects. So those physical objects are internal within us. That's what he really means to say there. The external Mercedes car is out there. That's not going to cause the problem. But when we start doing Dhyan of Murti, Sachin starts to think, I need to have a Mercedes car. I need to have this. I want this. Things that I want to have, the things that I don't have, things that I already have are coming inside, they're popping up inside the mind, right? That is all meant by Padarth. It can be anything actually. And then it comes as an obstruction in the process of Dhyan. So Shriji Maharaj's definition of Maya as an obstacle impeding devotion distinguishes the Swaminarayan approach from more metaphysical interpretations by firmly situating the concept within the devotee's lived experience. The metaphysical interpretations are there of Maya. Lots of scriptures. We're going to get into that, and they're fantastic. Beautiful. I mean, they're very useful. Nonetheless, as an ordinary human being, we have this demand to be active in the world, to do something. So sadhana is doing. But a point will come when it just becomes natural, as I mentioned in some previous recordings. Right? But the lived experience, the bhakta's lived experience is what Shriji Maharaj is talking about. So this personalization of Maya moves away from the abstract philosophical discussions. You can get into all kinds of abstract philosophical discussion, and Shriji Maharaj shifts it back into the Murti, and to connect with the Murti, this is Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. The establishment of Dhyan is only possible when you have Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. Dharma meaning righteous behavior, Jnana is spiritual wisdom, and many others, Jivishwar, Maya, and all that. That's also part of Jnana. That's defined that way in Shikshapatri. And we'll get to all that later on. So Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya is that state beyond attraction, repulsion. It's a highly evolved state beyond entanglement. And then Bhakti. This is pure love for God, love for Bhagavan. So these four, where do they lead us? If they are actually established firmly, they lead to Dhyan. That the bhakta then can really absorb the psychological energy into the murti of God, with the extraordinary faith and devotion and understanding that this is Bhagavan. This is called Swarup Nishta. Swarup Nishta means that there is the extraordinary faith. Nishta means conviction, faith, without flinching, that who is in front of me, the form that is in front of me is God. It's like if you're in a Christian church, let's use a Christianity example. If you're inside a church and there is the prayer hall, there's a cross there, there are the pews where people are sitting, maybe some churches have some icons or they have some paintings or whatever it might be. But it all stems on faith, nishta, faith in Jesus, that Jesus is here, is presence, is the presence of God. Now, there isn't really a murti, there's a cross in most churches. Sometimes there's Jesus on the cross, depending on which denomination you go to. But there's still the concept of presence. Look at Mecca, for example, in the Muslim tradition. Now, you can see some of the documentaries on YouTube and some other places. People have so much affection for the Kaaba, and they're doing the prediction of the Kaaba counterclockwise. They do it, and there's so much. There's a rock there also that they touch. People need something concrete, even in Islam tradition there isn't any image or murti. There's still Mecca, there's still the Kaaba, there's still people going on the Hajj and all that. What is all that? It's all adhyatmic sadhana. So it's just another approach, right? But here Shriji Maharaj is specifically referring to his own spiritual realization, and because he said Anubhave karine siddha baat kare liche, his own spiritual realization that there is the Parabrahma Tattva beyond the Brahma Tattva. And that realization is what he's asking us to move into through dhyan. Right? So there's a lot to be said about this, but let's stay on. I don't want to shift too much into something else right now. So the point is that Shriji Maharaj is reframing Maya from its usual philosophical framework. He's redefining it as an impediment to devotion. And you may not really see this kind of definition in too many other scriptures. We tend to think of it that way. That, this is Maya, that is Maya. But, we think of it in terms of attachment, which is true. But now he's taken it further, saying it's an impediment to devotion. So he reframes it as a dynamic interplay between the devotee and the environment. Meaning what? What does that mean actually? So there's a bhakta. Like I take myself, Sachin is a bhakta, let's say. All right. That's fine. But there is an environment within my own mind, within my own circumstances. And there's the murti. So I'm trying to connect with Bhagwan, and there's so many other things coming inside. So it is not a static monolithic force, but rather a collection of specific obstacles that arise within the context of the individual's life and practice. I have to see in my life what are the specific obstacles. Only I can see them. There's nobody else can see them. I have to see them myself. I have to perceive them. That's why Maya is not a static, monolithic force. That's not what it is. But it's a collection of specific obstacles within myself. I have to see it myself. You have to see it yourself. That arise within the context of my life and my spiritual practice. How fantastic. It puts the onus of recognition and realization of obstacles on the devotee himself or herself. That's the key here. So this emphasis that the devotee's agency, meaning free will, is navigating his or her spiritual journey. God has either given us free will or we have it somehow. We cannot say we don't have free will if we say that there's no meaning to life at all. We have free will. Right? So it's good to just state right out we have free will and just don't worry about the philosophical debate. it's not going to be of any use at all. I mean, it may be useful for intellectual purposes, but that's all. But free will, we have that. We have agency. It's called Devotees Agency. Agency doesn't mean like some government agency. The word agency in psychology means will. The Devotees Agency. Right? So some of you may not be familiar with some of this language. So the emphasis that Shriji Maharaj is giving is the devotees, the bhaktas' agency in navigating the spiritual journey. Are we on a journey in life? First of all, life is a journey. We're born through our parents, born through a womb of a mother, etc. And then continue to grow and develop and live this life as it is. But there is a journey to be taken towards Paramatma. In Gujarati language, it is called Adhyatmik Yatra. The word yatra is used in Marathi, Hindi, North Indian languages, maybe in South languages also. I'm not sure. Not too familiar with those languages at all, actually. So that's why I'm not sure, but we can look it up and see. Yatra means to journey, right? But life is a yatra. Yatra, the word yatra is used many times for spiritual, places, to go to spiritual tirtha, holy places. So, hum yatra mein gaye, we have gone to yatra mein jaiye, things like that. But life itself is a spiritual yatra. How is it not? So when a devotee's free will, bhakta's free will is utilized towards connecting with Bhagavan in the very genuine sense, there is profound joy in that. Once the journey actually begins, and again, Sachin is only speaking for Sachin. Sachin is not trying to tell anybody anything. Sachin has no right to preach anything to anybody. This is a collaborative, exploratory journey. And I hope we keep it at that, because that's what it should be. That's really what the word Upanishad means. Upanishad doesn't mean somebody sitting up and somebody sitting down. You're sitting on the same platform, sharing together. One person may have traveled a bit further, or one person is sharing with another person. And that's fine. And this is one of the things that has transformed me through J. Krishnamurti's teaching, through the dialogue process. So I think that's a beautiful approach. And that's the approach chosen to take here. And that this is a collaborative process that we're journeying together. And that's what the Vedas say. Upanishads, let us progress together. Let us grow together. Let us think together. Let us contemplate together. Let us journey together. Let us love together. Let us respect each other together. We don't have to be in a ego-driven hierarchy all the time. Unfortunately, the world is filled with ego-driven hierarchy. Anyway, I don't want to go into that subject here, but it's all connected anyway. So the point here, the emphasis by Bhagavan Swaminarayan is that the devotee's free will is there. First of all, we have free will. Point number one. Point number two, we can navigate our free will in multiple directions, and we can navigate it towards Adhyatma, towards higher realization, if we want. If we want. It's a capital I, capital F. And then there's also if and only if. If we want is one thing, but if I want this and I only want that, then God realization is not far away. Right? So the point is that human beings are not passive victims of a cosmic illusion. See, that's an interesting point, right? Are we just victims of a cosmic illusion that some Brahman somewhere or some God somewhere has his Maya? People can interpret that way, like Bhagavan Krishna says, this Maya is mine. Daivi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya. Well, if it's your Maya, why you just pull it out? Get rid of all this Maya. But it doesn't work like that. Then that goes back to Vishishtadvaita, that each Jivatma has free will. Jivatma is not the Paramatma. Jivatma it's not that the Paramatma became the Jivatma and got diluted into his own Maya. Is that the case? Obviously not. How can that be? That logically doesn't make any sense at all. Then you cannot say Paramatma is all-knowing and Sarvagna and has the omni qualities and all those amazing qualities. We have to get back to that, actually. We cannot say that even. We cannot say that God is eternally free and eternally beyond all the ignorance. And if God himself or itself, if the Brahman itself got entangled somehow, then that's a problem. Now, to be clear, Advaita Vedanta is not really saying Brahman has gotten entangled in Maya. Brahman is saying that Maya doesn't exist. Nothing exists except Brahman. That is Advaita. It is called Ajatavad, Shankaracharya ji's guru's guru. Shankaracharyaji's guru was Govinda Padacharya. Govinda Padacharya's guru was Gauda Padacharya. And Gauda Padacharya's entire teaching is called Ajatavad, unborn, that the universe actually is never born. Then why does it exist? Where did it come from? You see, so these kinds of questions pop up. You can get into philosophical debate, but the emphasis that Shriji Maharaj is giving here is that, you can wind up in this intellectual philosophy and get lost in that. Now, it's possible that highly evolved rishis, they didn't see the world at all. They're just in the Brahmic state and they leave the body at some point. But where did their body come from? They say, well, that's just a play of the Brahman only. Maybe. You cannot discount that actually. But from where we are, we need some very straightforward approach to transcend Maya. Abstract philosophy is extremely difficult to understand, and even paths of just pure Gnan and pure inquiry paths are also difficult. That's why bhakti is necessary. Bhakti is doable. Bhakti is understandable because we experience emotions. We can have a feeling that God exists in front of me. We can have that. It can be developed, and it can develop very nicely. Some people might say you're just developing some delusion in the mind. Well, if you believe that, but then don't take the bhakti path. Do something else then. Whatever you want to do. That's a different discussion. But it's not a delusion. It's a matter of nishta. Nishta, Swarup nishta. Swarup nishta. That Swarup in Maharaj, in Vachanamrut is talking about the pratyaksha Swarup. So you don't have to imagine something. In his time, when he says pratyaksha Bhagavan, he's referring to himself. Pratyaksha, the word pratyaksha means that you can see through your eyes. That which is manifested. He's referring to the tattva, the Purushottam tattva, that is manifested through the body, that is Sajanand Swami or Shriji Maharaj, and through the body and as the body, even the body meaning it's a part of Prakriti, but the body is divine. It's a divine, the body itself is divine. It's not like our body. That's another discussion altogether. But that's in the Gita also. Janma karma chame divvam evam yoveti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam eti sorjuna. Bhagavan Krishna himself is saying that my janma, my karma, my everything is divyam, is divine. So the entire vigraha, the manushya form, the physical form, and then the 8 other forms that come in tradition, they are divine. They are divya. That is called archa avatar. That otherwise, if we don't have that nishta, then we say it's just a stone, it's just a painting, it's just that you wind up in idolatry. You see, we don't. This is not idolatry. You could even say the Bible is an idol. The Bible is not an idol, or the Vachanamrut or Bhagavad Gita. It's a physical book, right? There's words on there. Are there not? Is that not like an idol then? So it's not an idol. These are the ideas that are presented that take us to the tattva itself. So the murti takes us to the tattva, and the murti is the tattva. So for example, if you have $100 bill, a $100 bill is not the same thing as, let's say, 20 gallons of milk as such. But in another sense, it is. Right? So in one sense, it's not. In another sense, it is. In one sense, it just represents buying power that you can buy 20 gallons of milk. I'm just picking a number at random here, depending on the price of each gallon, right? But if it's a genuine $100 bill, if it's not counterfeit, and if it really, you give a $100 bill to a cashier, they do the test with the pen, that coloring pen, and they say, yeah, it's a valid government issued $100 bill. Then you can buy 20 gallons of milk, bread, fruits, whatever you want to buy. You can buy that from $100. Now, if you just have a $100 bill in front of you, you cannot see all those products. But you have to go to the store to actually, find all the products and then open. Essentially, you're opening the power of the $100 bill. Similarly, through the act of dhyan, by meditating on the murti, we are opening the Brahma Tattva that is locked, that is who we are. We're opening the potentiality that who we are into the dynamic force by transcending Maya. You see, so we're opening the Brahma Tattva and Parabrahma Tattva. It's called Gnan Yagna, Yog Yagna, Garada Madhya 8. It's open from inside. So the murti on the outside functions initially as like that $100 bill, but you have to know how to use that. In I think in Swaminarayan somewhere it is written, Bhagwan ni murti mali pan pachi Bhagwan ne rakhwa pade. It means that the murti has been obtained, but you have to know you have to hang on to it first of all. We have to hang on to it, and then we have to know what to do with that. For example, so many of us at homes we have murti of Krishna, Shivji, Devi. We have murti of Bhagwan Swaminarayan. We have murti of Mahalakshmi. So many images and forms, and so many. You can go to any Indian store and buy all kinds of murtis and all that thing, right? Okay, fine. Or you go to the Christian stores. They have some Christian religious stores. You can buy all kinds of crosses and Bibles, and it's amazing. Nice to see those places. Beautiful. Okay, that's beautiful. But what to do with it? You can bring it home and make it, okay, I'm going to do some devotion here and there. But Maharaj is saying dhyan. My God, that's a totally different level altogether. When we are doing dhyan of the murti, meaning that we're absorbed in the murti of Paramatma, how can I say this? There's the unlocking of, it's actually the unblocking of the obstacles from within. The Mahamaya from inside we begin to move out of that dimension. See, let's use that $100 bill example for just as an analogy. If a person has a $100 bill, but they never use it, they have it with them. Let's say you have some money. This happens in life, right? You have money saved in an account. Person never uses it and dies like that. Was it actually theirs? No. What is yours is what you use. That's all. Nothing else is yours. So let's say a person has $10 million in the bank account. It's a heck of a lot of money. The person walks around with, I have this much money. I have this much money. No, you don't. It's not yours. Only if let's say you use actually $10 million to buy things and worldly experiences, that is yours. Or you donate it somewhere, or you do something with it so it becomes active in the world, then it's active. Now, otherwise it remains dormant. It's pretty much meaningless, actually. It's as good as not having it. It's meaningless to the individual. It's meaningful to those who inherit it or who gets it. Then they'll use it or somebody else will use it. Whoever uses it is the one who benefits from it. Isn't it so? Otherwise, it's just a number in a bank account. That's all it is. I mean, what else is there? If just hypothetically, which is totally hypothetical, really, and that is if Sachin had, let's say, $10 million in a bank account, right? And if it's just sitting there, and I'm walking around with my ego, I have this, I'm this, I'm this. I'm living in delusion. There's a beautiful Gujarati bhajan, Jeev Shane Fareche Gumanama Tare Revu Bhadana Makana Mare. This is what it's a beautiful bhajan. Why? Some poet has written that Jeev, meaning the human being, why are you walking around in your own foolish ego? Jeev Shane Fareche Gumanama Tare Revu Bhadana Makarma. You're living in the rental body. This body is a rental. You have to leave this body and everything that comes along with that. This is Vairagya. This is Vairagya. That's why Bhagwan Krishna Paramatma, he says Abhas and Vairagya. You see, that Abhyasam and Vairagyam, when they both are present, Abhyas is self-study, Antardrishti. That happens in so many ways. Abhyas and Vairagya. When we realize that I'm living falsely in my own ahankar, then what happens? We know how to use every kind of power, particularly like financial power, mental power, emotional power, every kind of energy, every kind of vaibhav as Mahalakshmi. The difference between just, Lakshmi and Mahalakshmi. Lakshmi is Lakshmi, right? It's the power. Lakshmi ji is there. Without that, there's no activity in the Brahmand. But when Ekantika Dharma begins to evolve, there's a transmutation from Lakshmi to Mahalakshmi. So meaning what? Every form of energy is changed through dhyan, because dhyan is used, that's the energy is used for dhyan. It is transformed where all of one's capacities, abilities, time, money, wealth, everything one has is used 100% for Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, Sarva Jiva Hitabhaha, is used for the benefit of the world. There's not even a moment spent in the egocentric space. That is called utilization of every kind of power we have for the benefit, the kalyana, the benefit of all. How many times in the Gita this comes? Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. Many times it comes. In the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, there was a Pujya Yogiji Maharaj, and many paramparas are there. Please, I'm not trying to promote any one parampara. But he used to say, Bhagwan Sarvanu Bhalu Karo. May Paramatma bless all. He's coming from the heart. When there is a true desire for the well-being of all, that such qualities, saintly qualities, are absolutely, unequivocally, unflinchingly necessary for dhyan. Otherwise, forget about dhyan. Dhyan, nobody can do dhyan. Kya dhyan hoga? There's no chance of doing dhyan. Gunatitanand Swami himself explained this point. He said, Bhajan karu e sarvat, what did he say? Sarva karta bhajan karu e shreshta. But rather than wasting time in so many other things in life, don't waste time, energy, effort. Time is so short in life. Do bhajan. That's the starting point. Step number 1 is bhajan kirtan. Then, if one is well established in bhajan kirtan, arti, thal, puja, the first level, then you go to the next level. Then that bhajan kirtan turns into much more mantra sadhana. The mantra sadhana becomes more intense. And then the third level beyond that mantra sadhana is of course connected to murti. One actually begins to meditate on the form itself. It's a meditation on the form, that form is real. This is where, for example, if you go to the Hare Krishna temples, ISKCON temples, you'll see the devotees with their tilak, the Vaishnava tilak, kanti, etc. They have taken, initiation, and they meditate on the form of Sri Krishna, on the vigraha of Sri Krishna. They respect their guru, Prabhupada ji. The respect is there for Guru Parampara, but they don't meditate on the guru. They meditate on Sri Krishna only. Even Radhika ji is there next with Sri Krishna, but the Upasya Murti is Sri Krishna. You'll notice this in the Vaishnava tradition. Even they have Guru Parampara. They have even the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, maybe some devotees do meditate on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't know. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji himself was a devotee of Sri Krishna. Right? So the meditation is on the Murti. And this is the point. Murti meaning the form. So in the Vaishnava tradition, the meditation is on Narayana. In the Shri Vaishnava tradition, the meditation is on Bhagwan Narayan with Devi, with the Mahalakshmi, Padmavati Devi, etc. Right? In the Shaiva tradition, the meditation is on Shivji, Bhagwan Shankar, with Parvati ji. In the Swaminarayan tradition, the meditation is on Bhagwan Swaminarayan, which is Purushottam Bhagwan himself, or itself in the form of Sajanand Swami. But that's for those who believe that he's Parabrahman. For those who believe he's a Sadguru, then the Krishna can be the Ishtadevata. That's another discussion altogether. Right? But for those who are in the Sampradaya, who have taken Ashraya of Maharaj, all devotees of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, Sriji Maharaj, they worship him as Parabrahman. Right? But now if you go to a Sai Baba temple, people worship Sai Baba as Parabrahman. I mean, saints are also worshipped. So that's another discussion. But the point of the matter is that Sriji Maharaj's Siddhant in Shikshapatri is that the Dheya Murti for Dhyan is Bhagwan Sri Krishna. In the Shikshapatri it is written. Then he talks about himself. Who is he? There are 6 levels of understanding who he is. That he's a saint, he's a yogi, then beyond that, he's an incarnation of Sri Krishna, he's Sri Krishna himself. And there's even beyond the Goloka, there's the Akshardham. There's that Krishna, Purushottam Sri Krishna, that is in the Akshardham. That Tattva is Bhagwan Swaminarayan. That Tattva is Sriji Maharaj. So there's these 5 or 6 different levels of seeing who he is. again, another subject altogether. It is connected to this, but just wanted to mention it because all that is coming up in the future as we continue this journey forward. All right, we'll continue this further in the part number 2. I am behind a couple of recordings. I'll be making some more today, and we will try to stay on one recording per day by the grace of Bhagavan and not to break off. There's so much to cover here. It is so fantastic. We'll pick up where we left off in the next recording regarding this entire point Maharaj is making, about the fact that there is active engagement with Maya, rather than some simply, how can we say, some abstract notions of it, right? So the active engagement with Maya, which underscores the importance of self-awareness and introspection. So self-awareness and introspection are key in the Swaminarayan approach in spirituality overall. So we'll continue on this in the next recording. Thank you so much. Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Shri Swaminarayanaya Namo Namaha, Shri Sadguru Deva Ki Jai. Thank you.